Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we are actually wrapping this project up. So what we've did is we've added like a simple splash screen at the top here. We've also changed the button a little bit. They now have animation on it. They're a little bit more interactive, a little bit more good looking. We've changed the font. We actually imported a Windows font in this. You could be using any web font if you like. Anything that doesn't have copyright on it, of course, if you're trying to sell the product. But still, we changed the font of pretty much all the menu, so they all look a little bit different. And yeah, so that's what we do today. We just wrap things up. We also created a certain alert at the very end when you win. So when you win, it says a white player has won. Then it wait 3 seconds and send you back to the actual menu scene. So this is what we do today, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's jump right back into it, guys. So I've added one more thing in my checker asset on my website. I've added one more asset to it, and it's a simple splash screen. This thing you see here, it's a PNG image that I'm going to be using as some kind of splash logo. So what I did, this is a PNG image. I simply drag and drop this in my artwork folder. Now I'm going to have to change the texture type at the very top here. Change this for a sprite 2D and UI, and hit apply. Now at this point we can now use transparency, and we can also use it in the image component. Talking about the image component, let's actually look at our canvas and pull that image component. So we are going to right click somewhere in here in the menu, actually no, just in the canvas, create a new UI image, and that image is going to contain our splash image. Here it is. Now scale this up to make it look good. And I will put mine somewhere at the very top right here, depending on what my camera is looking at. So this is actually quite good. So this satisfies me. Now what I'm going to do is play around with the buttons, because what I really hate about this screen right now is the buttons themselves. They don't really look pretty, and we're going to be changing that right now actually. So let's jump on one of those buttons. Let's start with the hot seat button. What I'm going to do with those is actually change the font. Right now we only have one font. It's the Arial font, I think. Yep, it is. I'm going to change that for something else. I'm actually going to use the same one I've used for this guy at the very top here. So Windows font, it's called Impact. So what I'm going to do now is get my Impact font, my actual font that I'm going to be using for this. And I'm currently inside of my Windows folder, so computers, C, Windows. If you're not using Windows, you can find your font pretty much anywhere else on the web, or anything really. You just find a TTF file. In this case, I'm going to be using like a really simple Windows font, so I'm going to find it under the Windows, then fonts, and I'm looking for the Impact one, the Impact regular. I'm going to copy this over to my asset folder, so right here. Inside of my asset folder, you're going to see it appearing right there, and let's drag and drop that inside of artwork. Let's also drag and drop these animation inside of another folder we'll create. Animations, why not? Just to order things around a little bit, just place things. And there we go, it's a little bit more clean, and we can now work with that. Now we also have our Impact font we can use pretty much with any text now. So hot seat, let's go here, change the Arial for Impact, and it's going to be using this font instead. I'm not going to want bold font here because it's a little bit too big already, but italic, that's fine. So that's the font I'll be using. Let's actually put it the same color as the splash screen. So the font color is white, and the background of the button itself, or the actual image behind the button, is black. So we end up with something like this. I'm going to be playing around with this a little bit just to make this look good. We're also going to add some animation as well. Why not? And maybe a space bar right here, or just some kind of margin. You could add the margin up here as well. This would work. So something like this. So I'll be doing the same exact thing for those guys. We'll be using a Impact font. Make sure it's only on italic. Put this on the white, and the background color is going to be black. Already we have a quit. Quit. Already we have quit. Already we have a better feel of the scene. So if we just keep working on it a little bit, I'm sure we can make it look good, or at least make it look decent enough for us to actually ship the game. So one last font to modify here, and am I done? I'll be done after the colors. I might also reduce the size of this because this goes a little bit too far on the middle. I like the style of it, but it might be just a little bit too far. So maybe even play with the width, go for like a 300 instead. But I'll be playing with the width in the animation, so that's something else we'll do in a moment. But first, let's have a look at this. Okay, so it looks like that. It's not too bad, but now we don't really see the animation happening when you mouse over it. So you don't really know when you mouse over the thing, and that's definitely not something we can allow. You should have feedback on your button just by mouse overing. And also, I'll leave the scale back to 400. It looked better. Okay, so let's jump right into animating this thing. What I will do is I'll just grab one of these from the button, and we'll open up the window, the animation window. On the animation window, we are going to create a new animation. This one is going to be button_idle. And we're just going to leave it like that. Actually, we don't need to do anything when your button is idle. Now we'll create a new animation, create new clip. Button, I think this one is called highlight. So how do you go about writing highlight? My English sucks. Highlight, let's write it that way. Okay. What else? We also have a press state, but I think we'll just leave those two for now. So this is the highlight, the button highlight. When you are in highlight, we're going to be playing with the size of it a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll click on record up here, add a keyframe by double clicking. Actually, you know what? You need to add something first. We want to be playing around with the size delta, and we added some actual keyframe here. That's 1 second. Let's go in the middle and just reduce the width to say 300. So now what's going to happen is when you hit play, it's just going to do that. That's your new animation right here. And that doesn't look too bad. What I'll do though is I'll make it a little bit longer so it doesn't go as fast. Maybe take these guys, the 1 second, put that on 2 seconds, and the 30, put it on 1. So I just doubled the size of the animation. Now let's also make sure you actually toggle off the record button so we don't mess this up later on. Let's hit play and have a look. And that is what is going to happen when you mouse over the button. So that's actually quite cool. Now what I'd like to do at this point is actually play with the curve a little bit because it's not really smooth. If you have a look here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is click on size delta and then press on F. So we actually zoom on the curve. And that is your curve right here. So that's your animation curve when you're playing. It goes down, then back up, and then it snaps. There's no smoothing here. It just goes back to falling down again. So what we'll do is we'll click on this one, this keyframe at the end, add a flat to it, and also add a flat to the first one. So you now have a really smooth curve. And when you play it now, it doesn't break, it doesn't just quickly change direction. It just smooths and then turn around. So that is going to be our highlight animation when we're mouse overing the thing. And we are going to just stop recording, go back here and actually code this. So this should not be too complicated. We've done it in the past on another video. So what we'll do is head over to the hot seat, go under button, we'll change the actual transition from color tint to animation. And now here's where things change a little bit. So you have some triggers you gotta be using. The normal one, we can call it idle. We don't really need it, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but we'll just leave it there. As far as the press and disable, I'm not gonna be using them. We're gonna be using highlight though. So let's just make sure we copy this over, and now we gotta be creating some kind of state machine in the animator. So let's pull the animator, hot seat, double click on it, and we have our 2 animation. So what is going to happen is we're going to be using any state to make all our transition. So what I'll do is whenever you start the game, you're push on the button idle, so that's perfectly fine. Okay, so now what needs to happen is if we get the trigger for normal, we head over to the button idle. And we'll do that by right clicking on any state, make a transition from any state to idle. We'll also do that for highlight. And now at this point, we need to have a definition for those triggers. So we'll head over to parameters, create a new parameter, a trigger parameter, one for highlight and also one for idle. Now, clicking on this one, the one that goes from any state to idle, we are going to add a condition down here. Add a condition, the condition is going to be idle. Same thing on the other side, however, you're adding a condition for highlight. And we should actually be good just like that, I believe. I haven't done that in a while, let's just hope that it actually works. So press the game, and it does work. Simple as that. So it only works for the first one because that's the only one that has the animation on it. But as you can tell, something simple like that. And I believe we could also animate the color just a little bit so it actually stands out a little bit more, because right now it does the animation I want, but it doesn't really stand out, and that's something I would like it to do. So what we are going to do is head back to our button, pull down the animation window again. Where's our animation window? Here it is, Control 6. And now this time let's make sure we are on idle. So this time we have to be on idle. What we'll be modifying is the image and the color of that image. So let's add this, click here. What is the, okay, so you have like a value for red, green and blue. We are going to leave it like that. So this is just a normal, this is just normal colors. That's the black default color. Now heading to the highlight animation, we're also going to add a property for the image color, but this time we are going to change the image color. So we can click on record, we can do it manually here, that could also work. We actually just have to head over here and change the color to something else, so maybe just something a little bit more gray. Like this, just something very, very slight. And then we remove the record button, and when you're on this, it should actually be this color. So let's try this out actually in the game, see what it gives us. It gives us something like this, which is not too bad. I actually like the flashing quite a lot, but if you do not like the flashing, if you don't like the way that it just flashed like that, what you could do is head over here and just remove those color keyframe. You don't actually need them to be there. So when you swap to highlight, you just get that instant color and it just stays there. So this could also work depending on what you like the best. So I'll just leave mine like that, and I will head back to my scene, actually add this to the other button, so say the connect button. Now how do we go about adding this? It's quite simple. I think all we have to do is put the animator on there, and we'll give this a try, and as you can tell, it works. However, this one seems to be stuck, and as you can tell, it's stuck, and that's because it's still using the old transition mode. So head over to the connect button. On the button component, you're now using animation. This one is idle, this one is highlight, and the two other, they don't really exist. Same thing for the host. Let's drag and drop hot seat here. Use the animation, idle, highlight, and that's pretty much it. So let's give this a try now. It actually looks like this. So we now have a responsive UI, and it looks a little bit better, I think. Now we still have to play around with the other UI, so say the white player's turn here at the top. That's not so good looking. The connect doesn't really look good at all actually, so we'd have to play with those. There's quite a lot of things to do. However, I'm not going to take you through this because it's going to be like a really long process of just changing things around, just like moving this thing. Now that we have the splash screen, let's actually put that at the bottom or in the middle. So just little UI changes. I will actually do those UI changes as fast as I can, and I'll come back to you really soon. So I've ended up with something like that. Basically what I've changed is simply the button color, the text color, and also the font. So everything seems a little bit, more together. So it's like there's no two different fonts. It's only one font pretty much everywhere now. So if we have a look quickly, when you're doing hot seat, this is what happens. You go in a game, of course. Now connect looks like this. We go back, host looks like that. Really simple modification just to make it look a little bit more, better, I guess. And that's pretty much it, I believe. Now you can play your game and be quite happy about it. Now the only real thing missing is a proper defeat message. So at the end here, when I'm winning, it says white team has won, but it's still the black player's turn. So what we're going to do is simply place a nice alert at the end. we're going to be doing this, I believe that's in the endTurn function. So we head over to the checkerboard. It's not in the endTurn, it's in the check victory. So inside of the check victory, instead of just doing a debug.log, we'll use our alert function we've made. So check victory, then we go over to victory. If it's white, alert white player has won. And if it's black, we'll be using the alert for black player has won. Something of the sort. Something really simple. We don't need to do anything else really at this point. And let's just say something like game is over is now equal to true. We'll put that at the very top here of our script. So private bool game is over. And if it's over, let's not do the update anymore so we don't get those weird messages afterwards. So if game is over, we simply do a return. Now what you could also do is whenever you're winning the game, you get the message, say white player has won, but you could send him back to the menu after a little amount of time, which is what I'm going to do here. It's going to take like a second. So private float win time. We're going to keep track of what exactly, what was the time when you won. And if the game is over, we're going to be checking how long it has been since we've won. So basically what I'm doing here is creating some kind of timer after you win. So when you win, you get the message, then we wait say like 3 seconds and then you swap scene. So the way I'm going to do this is like this. If game is over, and then we'll do another if statement. In that if statement, we'll do if time.time minus win time is bigger than say 3 seconds. Then at this point, we do the code to actually change the scene and just make sure everything works. Now we also need to set the win time. So for that, we'll go back inside of the victory function, which is right here, and at the very top we'll say win time is equal to time.time. Back to our update really quickly. So this code in here is ran 3 seconds after winning. In that code we will do something of the sort. So we'll make sure to get rid of the server and also the client. So we'll do game object server is equal to find object of type server, and also game object with a capital G here. So server, and this is client, find object of type client. And now if those exist, we kill them. So if server, we do a destroy server.gameObject. Now if client, we do a destroy client.gameObject. So now we make sure we get rid of those two things, and afterward we will do a scene manager, which we need to import at the very top using in Unity Engine.scene management. So this thing here, scene manager.load scene. We're loading the scene called menu, I believe. Oh, sorry, this is actually going to be a server, and this is going to be a client. My bad. So when a game is over, you're finding if those objects exist. Well, actually, you're just assigning values, and if they're null, then you're not running this. If there is a value, you're destroying their game object. So you can go, you can safely go back to the menu and create new ones. Let's actually try this right now. Going to play, and we are going to head over to say the hot seat. We're gonna quickly win this game. So I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, so what happened is the message we got, the alert message we've got, was not actually say black player has won or white player has won. It was the turns. So this code here, which means this code is still running. So what we're going to be doing is, let's just assume if game is over, if game is not over, we are going to run this. Now if game is over, I don't want to be running this. I don't want to be overwriting my alert here. And I really do not like that code. In fact, this is going to work for what I just said, but I'm actually going to get rid of it. So, on my side, I'll just get rid of it. But like I said, if you want to keep those alerts, then you can simply just add the if statement we had, and it's going to work. Okay, so as far as the transition goes, after 3 seconds, it worked perfectly fine. So I'll just do it again, but this time in multiplayer. Alright, so we should be almost ready to test this out. And let's actually send our guy here. We should get the message white player has won, then wait 3 seconds and be sent back to the game scene. The menu scene. It says white player has won. 1, 2, 3 seconds, we're sent back. And everything seems to be working perfectly, so I really hope that you guys enjoy this series. I know it was like 15 episodes, but still, I think we made a good product. I think it doesn't look too bad. It's actually quite complete, and I hope you guys are proud, and I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, a like on the video always supports me quite a lot. A comment on the video also supports me. You can check out the Facebook page. Just leave me a like there, follow. You'll be updated with what we're doing next, because we're going to be doing a lot more projects in the future. And if you'd like to drop me a dime and help me with what I'm trying to do with the channel, then you can also do that on the Patreon page, so I invite you to check that out as well. Every link I mentioned are in the description below, and guys, thanks so much for following this, and I will be seeing you in the other tutorials.